One second. Are all good? Okay. So we're going to start with the Yoga Sutras. And first, we're going to start with Sutra 26 in Book 2, Vivekyakyate Aviplava Hanopayaha, which means the ceaseless flow of discriminative knowledge in thought, word, and deed destroys ignorance, the source of pain. So we're talking about the kleshas or the afflictions that get in the way of your yogic journey. And we talked about the five kleshas. So to recap, last sutra discussion, you had ignorance, avidya, asmita, the ego, raga and dvesha, desire and aversion, and finally abhinivesha, or fear for death. So by working to be aware of and reduce the presence of the kleshas in us, this what arises is the ceaseless flow of discriminative knowledge in thought, word, and deed. So you're trying to now be aware of your patterns. You're starting to be aware of your actions, and this destroys ignorance, the source of pain. What ignorance are we talking about here? The biggest source of pain is the ignorance that we are separate from what's going on outside. Okay, we are separate from what's going on outside. So we are ignorant of the fact that we are everything. We are the universe. Because of this ignorance, we feel incomplete. Because of this incompleteness, we act from a very small understanding of reality, and this leads to all the five kleshas. Okay. So when you eradicate the kleshas, you're able to eradicate this sort of ignorance. And you start to remember that you are, in fact, everything. So unfluctuating sound judgment with uninterrupted awareness is the essence of true knowledge. The soul means to eradicate ignorance and free the seer from the seen. It should always be kept in the highest state of awareness and attentiveness, known as Vivekakyati, the crown of wisdom. So the seeds of false knowledge are to be burnt up through uninterrupted yogic practices to maintain an unbroken flow of discriminative intelligence. All right. So you are being mindful of yourself, you're watching your words and deeds and thoughts, you're trying to perceive the truth about you and everything. So tasya saptadha pranta bhumihi prajna. Through this unbroken flow of discriminative awareness, one gains perfect knowledge which has 7 spheres. So when you're saying tasya, it's. So which it? This, Vivekakyati. Okay? Ceaseless flow of discriminating knowledge has 7 spheres. Okay? Pranta Bhumi actually means territory, province, or resting place. So there are 7 resting places of perfect supreme knowledge and awareness. Okay. So if you look at it, you can actually translate it in different ways. So I'm first going to read what Iyengar wrote, then I'm going to give my own take on it, okay? So he says there are 7 frontiers to be integrated between nature and pure consciousness. The first one is integration of the body, integration of the senses, your energy, your mind, your intellect, your consciousness, and your soul. Each realizing its own identity, proficiency in yoga will bring the 7-fold knowledge. So in other words, we feel separate, but though we are one, the body, the senses, your energy, your mind, your higher mind, consciousness itself, and your soul are all actually one. So according to Patanjali, the 7 states of conscious awareness are the emerging consciousness, the restraining consciousness, okay, tranquil consciousness, attentive consciousness, fissured or divided. Through the sevenfold knowledge is explained differently in various texts. This 7 states of awareness correctly represents Patanjali's thought, but it's not written here. What I think, this is my explanation of this, and what's come to me intuitively is backtracking to the first statement. Vivekakyate, meaning the ceaseless flow of discriminative knowledge, okay, in an unbroken, unfluctuating manner. So again, we're reducing the kleshas, and this wisdom rests in 7 places in you. The 7 places in you actually in the human body are the 7 chakras. So if you talk about how the flow of undiscriminative knowledge and wisdom evolves you as a person through the 7 chakras, rests in the 7 chakras, and through uncovering, unfolding, and illuminating these sacred spaces in us, we are able to connect more fully with everything. So I've always felt that's what he's talking about. So tasya saptadha prantabhumi prajna. There are 7 resting places of this knowledge. And these 7 resting places for me are actually the chakras. It makes more sense, actually. It's not that difficult. It doesn't have to be such a hard thing. Okay. Okay. So he says also it could be, there are several things he said it could be. But for me, it's the 7 chakras. So in Sutra 28, yoga ang ganustanat ashuddhikyase janap dipti aviveka kyatehe. In dedicated practice of the various aspects of yoga, impurities are destroyed, the crown of wisdom radiates in glory. So you're eradicating the kleshas through your yogic practices, which starts to illumine the chakras. Once you've traveled through the chakras in your yogic awareness, and the impurities in these centers are destroyed, the crown of wisdom radiates in glory. In other words, once you finally make the journey up to here, you connect to the higher you, to the higher source, to the source, to God. Okay? So this is the effect of yoga summed up in one sutra. He says that by regular devoted practice, impurities in the body and mind are consumed, the causes of afflictions are removed, the crown of wisdom is acquired. So what happens is you've reached the goal of yoga by clearing all your energy centers, and therefore the afflictions are now gone. You feel now more connected to everything because the sources of disconnect have been removed from your system through your yogic practices. Okay, so that's Sutra 28. And another way to understand the sevenfold is looking at the koshas as a system. So aside from the chakras, another way to look at the sevenfold resting places of this wisdom is looking at the koshas. In fact, the chakras and the koshas kind of line up with each other because in the physical body, Muladhara, lines up with Annamaya Kosha and earth element. The energy body, Pranamaya Kosha, he calls it psychological body, but I don't know why. That should be the energy body. Links up with Pranamaya Kosha, which links up to your second chakra and the element water. The mental body, Manomaya Kosha, the thinking mind, links up with actually the third chakra and the element of fire. Vijnanamaya Kosha, the intuitive body, intuition, links up with your heart chakra and the element of air. The Anandamaya Kosha, or bliss body, the soul, links up with the space element in the throat. Chittamaya Kosha links up with the third eye, which is the body of karma. And finally, Atma Maya Kosha is actually the higher self, which links up with the crown. Okay. So some people say that this is actually the what's talking about in the sutra that mentions the seven abodes of this wisdom. In the previous sutra, instead of practice, they use the word as anustana. This is a dignified and noble word with spiritual import, implying practice with dedication or religious fervor. For sadhana isn't just practicing for the hell of it or doing it in a robotic way. Sadhana is actually dedicated, devoted practice with faith in the process. Okay? So, when you do your practice dedicated, devoted with religious fervor, and what happens is maturity of intelligence. So, yoga can cure or lessen our physical, mental, moral, and spiritual sufferings. And you need to practice with wholehearted dedication and not just repetitive habitual practice. You've got to really want it. You've got to really mean it. Okay. Now, after talking about the five kleshas, we go to that part of the Yoga Sutras that most people know the best. Now we look at Ashtanga Yoga. So Sutra 229 is when we first get introduced to Ashtanga Yoga. So yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, astav, angani. So we have the 8 limbs of yoga. So going for the 8 limbs of yoga. And we know all of these already. Okay, so reading the statement again. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhiya, ashtav, angani. So, yama, self-restraint. Niyama, establish order or law. Asana, a posture. Pranayama, breathing with control. Pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. Dharana, concentration. Dhyana, meditation. And samadhi, deep absorption. Ashtav means 8. Angani means these are the parts or the limbs. And here we have the first time that Patanjali introduces the eightfold path to get to eradicate the kleshas and bring about the samadhi states. Okay. So we don't need to expound on that because in our 200-hour course, that was all over the place. Okay. All right. So now we go from the bottom. In Sutra 30, we talk about the first limb, which is yama. So here we have the 5 yamas listed: ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, yama. So this is the 5 yamas. So what are the yamas? These are rules of engagement for other people or the environment around you, nature, so that you will be harmonious in your interactions. So the principle of yama involves wishing no harm in word, thought, or deed, being sincere, truthful, and honest, not stealing or misappropriating another's wealth or possessions, chastity, and not accepting gifts or possessing only what one needs without being greedy. These rules and restraints are clearly laid down for us to live in society whilst remaining a yoga practitioner. So the yamas are social habits for your um, harmonious social relationships so that you'll be supported in your yoga journey instead of having to spend your energy at firefighting those relationships, and time will be taken away from your work of self-development. Okay. Now talking about the yamas more, Jati Desha Kala Samaya Anavachinaha Sarvabhaumaha Mahavratam, which means yamas are the great, mighty, universal vows unconditioned by place, time, and class, meaning it doesn't matter where you come from, what your rank in society is, or which part of the world's history you belong, everyone will agree that the yamas are universally followed and accepted. So right now, there is probably no country in the world that condones violence, dishonesty, stealing, um, and hedonism and greed, basically. No one condones that. So that's why it's universal. Okay. Now, Iyengar says they should be followed unconditionally by everyone, but by students of yoga in particular, irrespective of origin or situation, with a reservation concerning cultural phenomena such as religious ceremonies, vows, etc. They form the framework of rules in which society is based. As yoga practitioners, we try our best to live by these vows. Otherwise, it's difficult to be taken seriously or to be believed when you don't live by these vows, basically. But as a yoga teacher in particular, we want to make sure that when we are teaching yoga, that we are upholding these yamas. So what I'd like to do now is have a little short discussion on ethics, okay? And how we can, as yoga practitioners, be able to practice and live the live the philosophy. So can you, yeah, there we go. Let's start with the first yama, ahimsa, because as you know, the yamas are like a staircase. There's no use in practicing the upper parts of the stairs if the lower parts of the stairs haven't been mastered yet. So as a yoga teacher, have you experienced any kind of difficulty practicing ahimsa? When is it difficult to practice ahimsa? Because we know what ahimsa is, but when is it a challenge to practice this?
In adjustment.
Good one, adjustment. So how do we know if we're not
Yeah.
hurting someone in adjustments?
Last time I had this issue actually with my cyclist students. Before the course, I wasn't confident enough with adjustment and I wasn't using them at all, so avoiding it. But since we had to record the video, I had to do it. And maybe we do it too many times to record again and again. Then the following day, she told me that she had some pain in the shoulder and the back. So I was really scared if I went too much and too hard on her, and really, really felt bad. I discussed this with Alia and Munira. So now, alhamdulillah, she is better. But I don't know yet maybe how to adjust this part.
Okay, let's talk about this. It's important. How do you know if you're pressing too hard? Ask. Number one,
The
is this
face.
enough? Yeah.
Yeah, you see the physical reaction in the body, in the face, and I think you should try to feel how the other one feels.
The breath as well is an indicator. So if you notice that they stop breathing, obviously,
Yeah.
it's too far.
Yeah. So listening, looking at the face, body language, are they tensing? That means that's too much. Also, repetitive adjustments. Usually in a class setting, you only do the adjustment once. Of course, we're filming. Okay. We are filming, so maybe you did it a lot of times. In that case, maybe doing a counter pose just to contract the muscle again if you're filming is a great way to make them feel better so that they won't get injured by the overstretch. That might happen if you're filming an adjustment more than once. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a thing. Otherwise, it's not like you meant it. You
Not
know,
at all, no, no. Yeah.
yeah, it's not like you meant it. So it's um it's an accidental thing. Of course, we don't want to hurt anyone, that's true. But sometimes accidents happen, and then we just need to learn from it, basically. If accidents happen, we just need to learn from it. Anyone else? Have you encountered any difficulty? Nord,
What about being too lenient?
being too lenient. Is that going against ahimsa, being too lenient? Like what? Give me an example.
So, for example, if someone is doing an adjustment, you don't fully do it. You're like, oh, is that enough? And the person is like, maybe not, and you leave them at that. So you don't give them full attention or full
Okay.
experience.
I think that holding back on adjustments and being too nice, I think that would be with Satya.
Oh,
So we go back to that in Satya. Okay.
Kiwi, actually, I
Yeah.
was about to say the opposite. Is it also considered when sometimes teacher they push the limits of their students? Like, sometimes the emotional limit, like forcing, not forcing them, but basically dragging them into doing a pose that is emotionally stressful on the
Okay,
students.
that's a good one. The pose is pushing the student's buttons.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
When you
Like
see
pushing
that,
their.
yeah, when you see that happening, is it ahimsa or not? To continue or to step back a bit?
Now, if the teacher continues, it's ahimsa, no?
Okay, we have to clarify this, that if someone cries in a yoga class isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a release. So first
Yeah,
you need to be discriminative whether
mm,
it's a drama trigger and now they're in a drama moment, or it's a release.
okay.
Ilka, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, or are you facilitating a release of something? You know, giving them the space to open up and release.
Yeah, but it needs to be clear what it is. Because yes, I've seen situations where the students are crying, and it could be either a release or it could be they're in a painful state, and the teacher has just continued. I've seen this before, and it wasn't. It really was also an accident. But what happened was that the situation that the teacher put the student in had triggered a trauma that they had in their past experience, and they went back to that experience of trauma, and so they were reliving the trauma in the practice, and it was not a release, it was just they were in the drama of that experience again. You understand? So
So
sometimes you have to be careful, and if the student resists and says no, sometimes even though you know that if you continue it will help them, that actually has to be their choice whether they want to proceed or not.
There's another way. We had a student who was in a class that was too powerful for him. So we had an Ashtanga course and he has a back problem. So I told him that's too tough for you. He insisted I want to. So the teacher, because I was there, I had the feeling something is going to happen. The teacher was very, very good. She always said, go only as far as you can, and. So all these precautions. This man got into a forward bend and bang, it happened with his back. So again, when he was back, I told him, don't do this, don't do that, do only this, and so on and so on. And next time I saw him, he said, oh, when you do this Ashtanga course again in October, I'm going to join again. So this is ahimsa against himself. Also, we try to prevent him from doing any harm.
Yeah. So some people, again, but that's his choice. You've done what you can and you've done your job, but again, it's the person's choice. That's what I mean by you can say everything that you want, but at the end of the day, the person needs to learn ahimsa. Hopefully, when he does enough yoga and gets injured enough, he'll get it. Sometimes yoga is a process, it takes some time.
Yeah, let's hope so. Keep your fingers crossed.
Okay. Yes, Munira.
ahimsa is also speech. The way
Yes.
you address people.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be hurting anybody while you talk. So that's very important, either speech or action.
Yeah. Sometimes I believe that the best language for yoga class is inclusive language. So what is inclusive language? Language that is accepts everyone as they are so that no one gets hurt in the way you're talking. So there's this one also from Siobhan, which um, also is what Manira is saying. I think ahimsa can occur if a teacher mocks a person's posture, even in good humor. Also, if they target a student for repeated adjustments, this could feel humiliating for the student. Yeah. Yeah. So you know, what if you have a student that is reliving the trauma during a posture? Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So it could happen because postures can trigger people's traumas. If they're reliving a trauma, remember, when someone has a trauma, the power over their body was taken away by that trauma. The only way to get it back is to give them a choice whether they want to do the posture or not. They have to take back ownership of the body and that posture. So what you can say is, it's okay if you want to come out of the pose. It's perfectly fine if you want to come out of the pose or change it in a way that's more comfortable for you. You don't need to force yourself to do it if it makes you feel too uncomfortable. And then it becomes their choice whether they're going to stay in the pose, modify it, or just come out of it and maybe ask for another option instead. That would be the ahimsa method. Yeah. Making sure that your space is not harming of nature. Yeah, environmentally sensitive. You can look at ahimsa not only of other people, but the environment itself. Absolutely.
Maybe can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If you have a student that comes to you and you don't feel comfortable while teaching her, and so I keep on trying and trying and trying, and I do all my best, but I feel that my energy is not going not like when I teach other students. I don't have a preference from a student to the other, but the relief of energy. And two, I feel that she mainly does not come for yoga. She comes for other things. Like she said, I do yoga for a long time, but apparently she doesn't want to do sun salutations. I tried the yin restorative. I tried the two of kriya, but she's spacey. I don't think she knows what she wants. I tried to help her so many times, but it does make me feel so uncomfortable.
Why?
So do you think
Yeah.
I should, sorry?
What did you
Is this, if I say, okay, sorry, I can't continue.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry?
Yeah. Okay. I get it now.
I
I
didn't get that.
understand.
What did you say?
Yeah. So let me explain. I understand what you're saying. So she's quite resistant. Is that it? To what you want her to do?
Yes, and I don't think that her intention is yoga.
Did you ask her what her intention is?
You said yoga. But I feel that she feels that yoga is magic, and when she comes to 2 classes, all her problems are going to be solved.
Have you told her this?
I did, and she was very defensive.
Okay, you just need
And
to
somehow she said, "Are you trying to tell me that you're not going to teach me again?" I was like, "No, I'm just trying to."
Okay, two things
Maybe
here. Two things here. So, okay, first of all, it's a student's choice whether they want to be there or not. But also, it's a student's choice what they want to do or not. If it's in a group session, just completely ignore her and just do what you need to do, but give her a choice.
It's not a group session. It's a one-on-one.
It's a one-on-one. Okay, so then give her a choice.
Okay, now I want to ask you
Yeah.
something. If I continue, so I do as much as I can with breathing and a bit of guided meditation, a bit of seated poses and stretching and so forth.
How
But
how does she feel about those?
okay, but she's always alert. Like she doesn't sink into the pose. Like for
Okay.
example, if I put her in a supine twist and I went out to get something, I mean like put the phone on the side or something, she gets up. You know what
Okay.
I mean?
Yeah, she's in fight or flight. She's stuck in her in her sympathetic nervous system.
Yeah, that's true. Ahimsa is like okay, I will continue teaching her because I need to challenge myself and help people throughout their journey. Or ahimsa is like I have to be true to how I feel.
Okay, ahimsa means kindness and non-violence to her and you. Is the situation violent to you? Yes or no?
No, it's not violent. It's just sometimes uncomfortable. Maybe because I want her to do. I'm
Maybe
not.
maybe because you're expecting her to behave a certain way and she isn't.
Yes, that's true.
So drop all expectation. For some reason, you're attracting her. She's attracted to you for some reason. She feels that your energy is attractive and valuable for her. So drop all expectation of how you think she's going to behave. Observe her for how she's behaving. She's stuck in sympathetic nervous system, which means that you need to do more active things to her before you make her stretch. But if she cannot sit still, or she cannot do sun salutation because it's too hard, or asanas are too hard, just give her a lot of these dynamic movements. Just give her all these dynamic movements, rotations, the whole, that whole full body joint rotation and mobility. And then you do some breathing for her. So you need to do something dynamic for her first. She's stuck in fight or flight.
Yeah.
It's going to improve. And also, it's her
Kiwi, can I?
choice. Yeah? Okay. Leah.
Kiwi, can I add something here?
Yes.
Regarding what Jaylan mentioned,
Yeah.
we are a yoga. We are energy healers before we start our yoga teaching. So she's drawn to her energy in order to be healed, not
Yeah.
what is stored in your brain or what you
Yes.
know about yoga will heal her. Your energy, your presence will heal her, and that's enough. You are enough. Just being around her will heal her, and that's totally enough. Sometimes our ego start to hurt because, okay, I know all of these things, I took 200, I took 300, so she needs to be I mean myself, not anyone, I'm not accusing Jaylan, or I mean myself. So
Yeah.
we want to apply everything in a yoga session, but at the end of the day, it's our energy that will heal, that will create the shift. We have to appreciate ourselves, appreciate our energy before we appreciate our knowledge or knowing of yoga. So I think you are amazing teacher, Jaylan. She's drawn to your energy. You have amazing energy. Just
Yeah.
appreciate that and practice ahimsa toward yourself. You have to be kind to yourself and appreciate what you have. You don't need to do more in order to please anyone. You have it already. It's like something natural within you. So yeah, celebrate it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Myself, I thought that I'm not giving her what she paid me to do her a yoga class. So what I actually felt is that I am taking money for something that I'm not giving.
I think,
my dear, you are giving her your time. Your time is precious, my dear. So you don't have to do anything. Just the presence of you is energetically healing her. I have the same issues with some theta. I mean the theta clients. They will come. They will not let me do any theta healing, and then they will speak, and they will not accept any healing or going through trauma. And the next day, I will feel that I'm so bad because I took money, and then the next day will call me. It was an amazing session. My dear, I didn't do anything. I just was there to hear you. so just appreciate whatever you have. It's your energy heals, so you don't need to do anything. So appreciate your time, your effort, and that's it.
There you go. There you go.
I feel so much better now.
Beautiful. See, we're already, this is amazing. Okay, so now let's move on to Satya. Yeah, so truthfulness. So when is it difficult to practice truthfulness as a yoga practitioner or teacher, as a teacher? So we're talking about Nord's issue. If the teacher is doing an adjustment, but isn't really, what did you say? What are the words?
Oh, I said
Being
the teacher is too lenient.
Too lenient. Okay, so the teacher is too lenient in the adjustment.
Not necessarily adjustment in the class.
in the class. So
Yeah.
if a teacher is too lenient in the class, so in other words, give me a concrete example.
I just have a feeling that if a teacher doesn't care that much for a student, like this is the feeling I would get. I would
Okay.
feel that if someone
Yeah.
who's pushing you,
Okay. So what he's saying is, if the teacher's too nice and isn't really paying attention to the class, they're too lenient, then it's like they don't really care about the students so much. And they'll say good,
yeah,
even though
exactly.
obviously it's not good. You know what I mean? Like, okay, everyone, right foot forward, left foot back, sink into your warrior two, feel strong, keep the knee 90 degrees, good. And no one has the knee at 90 degrees, or no one has, and then you didn't even look at them when you said good. You just said good automatically without even checking, is that an honest thing to say or not? Sometimes we do this. We give comments that we don't really mean. And we're not really honest when we give feedback to people. We just give a comment for the sake of it, and you're not really actually looking or really being there for people. So this isn't being authentic. In other words, you're not authentic. So
So,
absolutely, this is not Satya.
so Pee-wee, what about when we encourage, um, when there is nothing to encourage, but we encourage just to let the person feel good, like especially first timers. When you encourage them and they're not doing right, maybe the pose
But
or whatever, but
make
you do it.
sure make sure your encouragement is honest. For example, they're not doing the pose right, but then you look
Yes.
at it and you say something like, that's pretty good. It's coming. I can see it coming. You know what I mean? You're encouraging them, but you're also honest.
You play with words.
Well, it's not a play with words. It's honesty. Like, yes, it's good. You're really trying, and I see it. It's coming. It's coming very quickly. Okay.
I noticed this kind of dishonesty. I looked at a Pilates video the other day, and this girl or woman was going on, yes, yes, you got it, and so on. It was just, how can you see this? It was just a lot of silly words spoken into the camera without seeing anybody, and it felt so false.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if you can't see anyone on camera, don't do those things. Because also, if you're watching, you will know it's fake because you know that she can't see you. It's not like anyone's being fooled here. So yeah, I believe there is a way to be encouraging without being fake.
What
Yes,
about social media?
social
I think
media.
that that's a huge one for dishonesty, like all like the fake Instagram posts and
Yeah, it's like
just all.
handstand, quick, take the picture before I fall over.
Yeah, exactly. And just like, oh, you can do this to get to this, and oh, this, and it's just, I don't know, it just all of it is a bit. Ugh.
Well, the thing is, like, it depends because some people are really honestly putting out valuable content. I'm not one of them. I'm not an Instagram yogi, but some of them really believe in what they're doing. And if they really believe in what they're doing, you can see it right away. Otherwise, if it's just taking a meaningful picture that's beautiful to get more, you can see that also. And I've met Instagram yogis that just can't teach. There are Instagram yogis that aren't teachers. They just look good on camera. But there are those that are really, they know what they're talking about.
But then there's also people who sort of use yoga and use asanas and beautiful backgrounds and different things to sell something almost like completely different or just sell a different part of their business. Do you know what I mean? It's sort
Yeah,
of like,
completely.
yeah,
Completely.
it's just really, I think, yeah, I see just so much of it and it drives me crazy. It's just so fake.
Because it's when you're marketing, you'll use trendy things to get new people to come across your product. So what's the best way to get the yoga market? Have someone do yoga and next to your product. Anyway, um, so yeah, advertising. Uh,
I have something, but I'm
yes.
not sure if it's related to Satya, but that's what I'm experiencing today and yesterday was I've been teaching Zoom classes on an Indian platform, and it is for a friend of mine, and she was not giving me money for it, but giving my mother a free subscription, so it was fine. But then
Okay.
they wanted extra money from my mother for an extra teacher that was coming in, and she was taking classes, and then it was really hard, and it's still really hard for me to be truthful to myself and speaking my truth about feeling this is not really equal anymore, and not hurting actually like the beautiful practice that I'm sharing with those Indian people, and really being appreciated on that platform. It's hard for me to get, I don't know if other teachers have that, but to get this this truthfulness out of myself, and then in return
Yeah,
receive any feedback from
two
them,
things here.
or I don't know.
Two things here. First of all, your worth as a teacher. Your worth as a teacher plus what you feel is fair. That you need to voice this out. It doesn't have to hurt. You don't have to get angry.
No. But it makes so I learned that for your information, those teachers, when I said like, can we do something about my compensation, she said, I'm giving the teachers 500 rupees a class. Now 500 rupees, that is 650 euros to teach 1 hour and 15 minutes with maybe 1 hour preparation or three-quarters of. And I was actually hurt that so many teachers were on her platform delivering quality classes and getting paid 6 euros.
You have to look at the relativity of the area. If they're from India, that's actually like, 500 rupees in India. Some people are okay with that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on the platform.
Yes, no, they have more. They have more teachers, even from Dubai, even from Germany, France. I was just like, I understand relativity, okay, and I get that. But now I'm trying to find my satya, my truth in here, like because
again,
I'm not caring about the money. I'm caring about the energy of exchange.
Exactly.
Where I feel
so your self-worth is valuable. What you feel your self-worth is, you shouldn't compromise.
Right.
So friend aside, you need to decide. Are you doing this because you're her friend? Or is it really important for you, the principle of how much you're getting paid? Because, I've been in a situation before where I'm trying to get my friends to be involved in a project that I'm involved in, but they've said no to me because they felt the compensation was too low, and we're still friends. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So you have to also be truthful. So there's two layers here: your own self-worth and your ability to stick to your own truth. But you need to figure that out.
I need to figure that out to be able to speak your truth. Because in yoga teachers, we are supposed to help others and then not expect compensation because it's our higher calling. There's a fine line between.
Here's the thing. I feel that it's completely wrong. Because, and this is where a lot of people get it wrong. This whole idea of you only have to do it for free, otherwise it's not a higher calling. It's unsustainable. because that means that you can't be a yoga teacher. You've got to get a full-time job because you're not allowed to make money from yoga. How many yoga teachers then will there be in the world? Not any serious ones. Do you understand me? So if you want to dedicate your life to yoga, yoga has to pay your bills. That's not a bad thing because you're worth it. And it's complete rubbish. And not only that, if you're teaching someone for free, how much will they value what you're giving them? They won't. Why? Because they don't have to give anything in exchange. Therefore, they won't value it. When someone gives something for something, they value what they're getting more. If you give it to them for free, they take you for granted. And that's why there's an energy exchange. It's not wrong to ask for an energy exchange because unless you do that, your passion can't sustain you.
Yeah, that's true.
And that doesn't mean that you're not serious about what you're doing or not spiritual or any of that. It just means that if I'm going to keep this up, I need to be able to get something out of it because I'm spending 8 hours a day on this. And if I'm not getting anything in return, I don't value myself then. And if I don't value myself and you don't value me, then you don't value yourself either. You understand? You're
Yeah.
not investing in yourself. You don't value your health. You don't value your sanity because you don't want to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a full-time job and I teach yoga at night, and I still charge my clients because I've paid money to take the course. I drive all the way to them, and I remember Pee-wee saying that this is the market price per hour as yoga teachers. Do not go low because they will not going to appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of my clients, before I go to her, she asked me how I charge, and I told her, and she said that's too much. I referred another teacher that takes way less, and funny enough, she didn't want to go to her, and we wanted to pay more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Can I share something?
Yes.
A few days ago, I got a call from a lady from Varka who was looking out for my phone numbers in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she wanted to practice yoga. Because of the lockdown and everything, she said the studio that she was going was closed down and has moved away.
Yeah.
And she used to go for Bharat Thakur, who offers yoga classes for 600 dirhams a year
Okay.
for 5 days of a week.
Yeah.
So I told her, sorry, I will not be able to match that price, and I'll not be able to help you. But if you still want it, you can have a group of 4 to 5 ladies, and I can come over and I teach you.
Yeah.
So that's the price going on, but each one has their own value.
Okay, let me tell you. Bharat Thakur's teachers are not well trained. That's why, and they come from Nepal. It's basically exploitation
Yeah.
because the fees of these Nepali teachers are so low. That's why they're all from Nepal because only Nepalese will agree to that price. It's
Oh.
like they're paid as much as the cleaners that live
Yeah,
in the
and there
labor
are almost
camps.
20 to 25 people in a class.
Yes, and they're not being paid. The teachers not being paid. And the teachers have not been trained properly. So if you look at the way they teach, it's just complete rubbish. But of course, someone wants to pay that price and they don't know any better. You know, anyone that's been to a yoga studio that's more expensive, if they go to Bharat Thakur, they'll be horrified I'm being honest. I'm not trying to destroy anyone.
Yeah, that's why I told
I
her
have a
I
good
can't match the price.
I have a good friend that lived with Bharat Thakur for 8 years and trained with him. He's amazing. None of these teachers are like that. None of them. Because they've only been trained for maybe, a little time. Because it became a business after a while. Before it was spiritual journey, and then all of a sudden it became business. So that I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I share something also?
Yeah.
I have the similar problem with Donake,
Yeah.
with the friend, because so I just moved to Dubai a year ago, right? And then I didn't have anybody to teach, so I start to know some people, like become friend, and then they come to my house and we do a yoga class, and the energy exchange is very low, so it's like they pay me 40-50 dirham. So during this lockdown time, one of people in the group become friend with me, and then she said, I would like to do it continue, can I pay you the same? And actually I say yes. And then I feel regret later on, because I ask myself why I'm doing this to myself, why I let people um, why I lower my value down. And even we are friends, and then I feel that the energy exchange is not, because it's not only that I put more than 100% when I feel we all of us will do the same. Whoever pay whatever money, you will teach, you will treat them the same way, right? And so later on I feel that I want to stop, but I can't, because her daughter also is a friend of my daughter, so it's kind of difficult situation to get out of the loop when
I know.
already in there.
Yeah.
Once you can, it's so hard to go from a certain price and then more up. It's ridiculously hard. You're like stuck in some situation.
That's right. So from the start, you should already know how much you're worth and set it.
But Piri, can I say something about changing the prices?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one of my friends, she became a yoga instructor, and she was very intimidating in teaching people, and she's like, no, I don't want to teach people for money, and this is devotion and so forth. And she said, you know what, I'll come to your house and practice on you teaching, because she was very shy and not confident.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, but I have to give you money. She's like, no, I will not take. So she said, okay, I'll take 50 dirhams. And I was like, okay. And then we started, and she's actually a very good teacher, and I will be forever grateful for her. But after 3 months, she started having clients and more confident. And she came to me once and she said, you know what, I think I am not taking enough. I mean, I'm giving you more than the 50 dirham is not how much I worth.
Yeah, completely. Well, in the first place.
Yes, exactly. And she's like, maybe because at the beginning, she said, I'm very shy and I don't know how to tell you. But at the beginning, I did not have confidence. But now I know my self-worth, and I'm going to charge you 150, and I'm charging others 250. And I agreed. And funny enough, I started to benefit more from the classes when I gave her her worth. So it's like a balanced energy exchange, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to add something like what Jailen said, because as a yoga teacher, if you're not getting paid as much as you think it's worth it for you, you will be giving probably completely like 100% of what you learned,
Yeah.
but your energy will be the same. You will feel deep down inside of your heart that it's not fair. And whenever you feel it's not fair, I don't think it's a good idea to go on with the same basics, let's say. See what I mean? So as you said, we set our price from the beginning, and by the end of the day, that's how we will feel comfortable, and that's how we would really give more than 100%, not only in knowledge, but also in energy and in feelings that are inside of us.
But for me, I have had now 2 experiences where I was very honest with giving my price to people, and they just didn't come back to me anymore. So they just completely just like they wanted to know my price, and then
just let them go then, because then maybe they don't want to invest in themselves. That's not your problem. It doesn't mean anything on you. It's them.
yeah, I get it, but still it was like, so what's this telling me, you know, that the moment I ask my value, nobody wants me, but when I give
No,
free,
that's
they
not what
want
it
me,
means.
you know?
Here's the thing. If you give yourself for free, those people will only expect free. You will get them,
true.
you will have to completely change them if you want to get not free. None of them will want to pay. So let them all go, because they're all going to go. And get
Okay.
people who are valuing what you have and will pay for it. If they won't value what you have and they won't pay for it, go somewhere else.
Because that's the same, even when you get new studios open or studios that maybe aren't doing very well at the moment, they make it like, you know, bring a friend for free, or the first class is free. Everybody goes for the free things and they never end up with paying customers still, or very few.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I add something just about price?
Yeah.
Because it just we haven't touched on it, and I think it's really important. I think that when we set prices for ourselves, we're also setting prices for our fellow teachers in our community, because if we decide to take a class for free or cut our price well below what we know the norm is, even if we can afford to do so, we're then taking classes away from other teachers that perhaps really do need that money, and we're bringing sort of like the collective price down. So it's always, I think, better to stay within at least the norm. You don't want to cut down too low, because then it's bad for the other teachers in the long run.
It's completely right. That's completely right. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and also it feels right for you, whatever you think is worth it. Like I had a thing with a yoga teacher, because I do Reiki and she needed Reiki. And I told her how much I charged. Then she said, oh, it's too much. Okay, let me get back to you. Then anyway, to make the long story short, she came back to me later on and she said, okay, I'll do it. I said, okay, I'll come to your place and I'll do it for you. So when I went to her place, I didn't feel like taking money from her. I felt that she is really in financial distress, and seeing where she lives, like, almost broke my heart. Like, I cannot take this. So I said, okay, I did the session. I didn't say anything. At the end of the session, she came to pay me. I said, no, I have an idea. How about you pay me back in a yoga class? Because you are a yoga teacher, and I'm a Reiki. So I give you Reiki and you give me back yoga. 1 hour from me, 1 hour from you, like in all times. She said, no, really, I managed to get the money. I said, no, it's not about the money, but I feel better like this. So what I want to get to from this point is that it's not always about the money. It's as long as you feel that you got the value that you deserve.
Yeah.
What money or in services or in appreciation or whatever, but if you feel that, you know, that like خلاص, like you're done, you know, you're equal, you're balanced, you gave 100%, you took also 100%. So whether it's dollars or euros or affection or a hug, maybe sometimes, so it's enough.
Yeah, you're right. It's
anyone
energy.
Else? Yeah. Okay.
I would like to add one more thing.
Okay.
There's another situation that made me feel that I'm really worth it, because one lady contact me, and then I offer her a free class. I offer her free class just to a trial class, and then I told her the price. She said it's expensive. I said it's fine. She said another teacher offer her cheaper. So I said, go to that teacher. I told you about this story, right, Miss TV? And then after a few months, she come back to me and she said she tried another person, and then she doesn't like, she tried different person. And she come back to me and she said she agreed to pay me the price that I worth it. So it's actually proof that it will, the person that don't want to pay will go away. But at the end, I guess the energy will attract the same type of energy to come to you.
Yeah, that's very true. Always believe in your deserving levels. This is the truth about you. We're talking about Satya. And first, the truth about you is the one that you need to be completely firm with, and allow and trust in your deserving levels to attract, the vibration that will support and sustain what you want to do. And if you're doing something good for the world, all of you are doing something good for the world, you're helping people become happier and healthier. Trust in your deserving levels. Don't be guilty about feeling deserving, because that's part of Satya. It's the truth. You deserve, because you're a good person and you're helping the world. You deserve to be taken care of. You deserve to be helped. Okay.
Bibi, thank you for that. That helps me with the aparigraha later on.
Okay, so we will continue with our beautiful and amazing walk through the moral side of being a yoga teacher when we talk about asteya next week, non-stealing. Should be interesting. Next week, I'm sorry, tomorrow. We talk about non-stealing tomorrow, and we'll just do the rest of the yamas tomorrow. So thank you very much for this amazing conversations, and hope you enjoyed.
Thanks to you, Pee-wee.
Hope you enjoyed the day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Bye.
Bye bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.